What one has daily hazard that keep you awake in the night? One person has asked exactly that question. Anyone?
Is there a safety hazard that keeps you up at night?
Yes.
Yeah, driving. Where are our guys at 2 in the morning?
That would be your answer. Yes. Go ahead, please elaborate on that a little.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, we've talked about driving. We recognize that's our greatest SIF exposure. I'd say beyond that, tubular handling continues to challenge us from a drilling side. We are leveraging technology. We've gotten away from the conventional V-doors or beaver slides, pulling pipe up. So we've got better control over that. But with that technology, there also comes the need for people to recognize those different hazards, slightly smaller risk, but they are different. And I'd say, in my experience, that's the biggest rig-based exposure is tubular handling activities. And we continue to make that a priority at H&P to understand how we can better control and remove those exposures associated with pipe handling.
I asked a major gas, the CEO of a major gas producer, what keeps him up at night. And he went on to name several different factors, which basically led us to perform a enterprise and operational risk study within that entire organization. There were a lot of minor things that came out of that. There were, when we talk about enterprise risk, we talk about financial exposure. We also talk about personnel exposure because that leads to financial exposure. We addressed everything from the top down, from the CEO, everyone from the top down, from the CEO to the gauger in the field. And what we found were that there were several commonalities about perceived and actual risk. We identified things that, were brought to light that from a insurability standpoint, from an insurance standpoint, from an operation efficiency standpoint, and those sorts of things. When you look at different companies, these major companies, they tend to be siloed into finance, operations, drilling, completion, production. If companies would do as, if all companies would do as this particular gas producer done, is be sure that all these groups are married together. I think from a financial risk, well, I don't know anything about finance. Well, yes, you do. Even if you're the gauger out there in the field, you keep up with the measurement of hydrocarbons produced. So that's part of finance. But where I'm going with this is there has to be better communication within the operator's organization to minimize all of the risks that keep them up at night. And I think you have internally, everybody has to be honest with everybody. And I think, we solved some issues or helped solve some issues relative to that enterprise and operational risk study that helped them become more efficient. And they were welcomed, but that's the main thing. It has to be welcomed by the C-suite and top level management for something like that to be effective and implemented.